spiritually. We got to get prepared for it. I do joke around a lot, and, that's just my way of dealing with heavy subjects like this. The lunatic left is now more vicious than anything. We've got all these things amidst all this craziness. I mean, we got to take some time to just lighten up and laugh when we can. I'm not trying to make a joke about it, but I did post a meme. It says, future site of the 2020 Democratic Convention, Camp Delta, Guantanamo. I mean, Gitmo is in the future. Trust me when I tell you that.
Absolutely. This is why they're expanding Gitmo. Why has so much money been poured into Gitmo all of a sudden? And, again, there's certain assets that have to be in place because you just can't go rounding up people and have no place to put them. Or, have the justice system, whether it's civil or military, not prepared to handle this workload and then not have the cases ready.
Well, that's right. And another thing we always get asked is, what is the deal with Jeff Sessions? Now, I know he's set to speak today and this afternoon. We're recording Tuesday morning, so I have no idea what that speech is going to be about, but I do believe that he is working in the background. And I get that people are getting very frustrated. What is Sessions doing? Sessions needs to do his job. Come on, Sessions, snap out of it. But I believe the timing has to be right. And we just cannot know what Trump and the Attorney General are really dealing with because there's so much corruption. This is a pretty deep swamp, folks. And I think they know exactly what they're doing. And strategically, it'll all come out at the right time. So, I kind of jokingly said, this is my meme. Jeff Sessions puts his glasses down. Hold on, I can't quite see you. Oh, yep, you're indicted too. I mean, Jeff Sessions, I think he's doing a lot of work in the background. And do you find it curious that President Trump again tweeted about his commitment to child trafficking, Mark?
Absolutely. I mean, there's a reason why Jeff Sessions is called the silent executioner. Yeah. He's not going to tip his hand. He's not. He's just like President Trump. These guys are geniuses, man. And the people they have working for them at that level who are committed to the president and his agenda, or God's agenda, let's just put it that way, is that these guys are geniuses, man. They're working more than on an intellectual level. They're working more on a spiritual level, I believe, that God's showing them exactly what to do and how to do it, get justice served on them. And they don't walk away. That would be a heartbreak. I mean, you would talk about people rising up in the streets probably after some of that stuff. So that they've got to make sure that these people don't walk. So we just have to be patient. A lot of people were saying, well, it's going to be before the midterms. I said, well, if they did it before the midterms, they better do it quick because it would really upset the political process and would kind of make the president look like he's kind of a dictator, if you know what I mean, and trying to manipulate the elections. I don't think it's going to happen before then. I mean, they may make a couple arrests or something. I don't know. Again, I don't have the timing of this, so I can't give a date, people. So, I think it'll probably be maybe after the new year because that executive order he signed doesn't go into effect until then. His new Congress goes into effect after the new year, and he will have plenty of time between now and then to have judges in places. So, again, the timing on this I do not have, but we just need to be patient. We just need to be continually in prayer and warfare, and we do our part. God's going to do his, but we just have to be just hang in there.
It's taken decades, I don't know, maybe even a century for us to get in the mess we're getting in. And we do have to have patience, Mark. You're right. But let's not overlook all the wins. I mean, there's so much winning, it's not even funny. I mean, speak of an awesome Monday yesterday. Stormy Daniels is ordered to pay Trump. Win. Cherokee Nation slams Hiawatha Warren. That's a win. Michael Moore admits that Trump outsmarted us all. It's looking bad for the Dems in the midterms. And I've got to play that clip here in a bit. That's a win. 60 Minutes, tanks. Trump steamrolled over that scripted talking bobble-headed minion for 60 Minutes. Now that is a Monday, my friend. Let's listen to this clip real quick here from one bloated carcass, Michael Moore. Let's take a listen, Mark. You'll appreciate this.
The level of my optimism has gone down to quite a degree. Donald Trump outsmarted everybody. Sorry if that's a hard thing to hear, but he did. He outsmarted the smartest person ever to run for president. And if you say to me, well, no, don't, you're giving him too much credit. Yeah, well, here's what I'm giving him. He's in the White House, and we're not. Very difficult to recover once the Democrats lose in November. And if you don't think that can happen, you're probably one of those people that were absolutely sure Hillary was going to win. And there's a very good chance that they're going to continue to be in power. And you should wake up every day for the next, 60 days, and operate with the absolute belief that we're going to get our asses kicked.
Yeah, absolutely. This is just more winning. And, the enemy may rise, but I'm just telling you, he's just going to get his head stomped every single time because this is not Donald Trump's agenda. This is God's agenda that's moving forward, and there's nothing that's going to stop it, period. And so these guys know, and here's the other thing I want to bring up too, Sheila. I warned, it may have even been on your show, I don't know, I can't remember, but I warned that this stuff was coming, these false flags, these terrorist attacks, these shootings, the fires, and even weather events. Look at the 2 hurricanes we have had in the last month. I've got friends up there in Panama City who took a direct hit. He's a Leo up there, and he even told me, he said, Mark, this thing created way more damage than any of us ever thought, because the day before, 36 hours, this thing was like a Cat 1 and it went to a Cat 4, almost a Cat 5. So these guys really didn't have a lot of time to get out. There's a lot of damage up there that the mainstream media is not even reporting on. So, but he was telling me, he said, I would have never expected this in a million years, this bad. It wiped them out. And he says, they're being told right now in the Panhandle, it will be months before they get power back on, because they're having to rebuild the power from the ground up. Now, what does that tell you? This is not coincidence that it's hitting the Panhandle of Florida, folks, and then it curves over to the Carolinas again. The Panhandle of Florida is the most conservative part of Florida. I've been saying this for a long time. Pray for Texas, pray for Florida. There's a direct assault on these 2 states because because Florida's a swing state, and they're trying to turn Florida blue. Also, that guy Gillum, who's a communist, who is running for governor of Florida, they're trying to get him in by taking away that red vote up there. So we need to be praying for these guys. And I even asked him, I said, you guys going to be able to vote? He says, if we do, I don't know how we're going to do it. So they were going to have to bring in tents maybe with paper ballots and guard it with the National Guard. I don't know. But again, this is an all-out assault to try and steer these elections. They're going to do anything they can between now and the elections. It's going to be very intense right now, and we need to be in prayer over that.
Well, Hurricane Michael, I think it's important people know that. Go look up Dane Wigington, folks.
Yes,
6
thank
days
you.
ago, he did a really interesting Hurricane Michael breakdown, the microwave manipulation. It's geoengineeringwatch.org. That's geoengineeringwatch.org. I got to get him back on the show because, listen, you've got scalar waves, you've got other microwave radiation manipulation going on in the middle of the Bible Belt. Everything that's happening in the political realm, it's paralleling what is happening in the spiritual realm.
Yes, and see, the other thing, too, is we don't normally get storms down that far in the Yucatan Peninsula and come due north.
Bingo.
They usually go across the Yuc, not due north a lot of times like that, at that intensity. Now, we've had them come due north, but not at that intensity and that fast. So you got to ask yourself, what is going on? And when I came out and said that whenever Irma and Harvey hit Texas, I said that man was generating these storms and they were steering them. And the Lord had showed me that. Man, I just got hammered. I got hammered for talking about Michael, that there was a reason it went to the Panhandle. And people were just mocking me and making fun of it. And it's like, look up Dane Wigington on geoengineeringwatch.org. He explains it all. And the Lord told me that basically under Irma and Harvey, that it was retaliation for backing out of the Paris Climate Agreement because it delegitimized the climate control, basically. It showed that they were in charge of this. And then you've got the Pope that comes out after Irma hits within 24 hours saying, see, we told you climate change was real.
Exactly right. And that's what Leslie Stahl spent the first part of the 60 Minutes interview, just hammering Trump on climate change. Oh, you think it's a hoax? You think it's Listen, climate changes. No one's denying that. It's called weather. And I say that in my book, Green Gospel. I expose all of this Gaia-loving eco-pagan death cult. It's all part and parcel of the United Nations global initiative. You know, he axed the Paris Climate Accord. He's come out against the United Nations. I mean, every single thing in the globalist arsenal, these demons are panicking. Why? Because everything right now, Mark, and it's all unraveling for these guys. You can just smell the desperation.
Right. So everything that's going on in the political realm is paralleling what's going on in the spiritual realm. The exposures, they're panicking, and that's what you're seeing because the truth's starting to come out. People are starting to wake up. You've got non-Christians that are part of the Q patriotic movement that have more of a spirit of Elijah on them than the church does. We're getting so much revelation on this right now, I can't even keep track of it. Something's about to happen, and I think it has a lot to do with the arrests, but something's about to happen, and especially on this archaeological find that I prophesied on, because on this archaeological find, there's a lot of stuff fixing to come out. But so anything anything that the Pope is involved in, is going to be a scam to begin with. And that whole climate change thing, all it is a global tax to fund the New World Order. So when we backed out and delegitimized it, that was retaliation. So this is all the cabal's doing right now. There's this game going on where they're trying to control the elections. So they get their technology, whatever the case may be, and they're steering this thing into Florida like that. They're trying to manipulate the vote is what they're trying to do. And notice it curves over to the Carolinas, who are just trying to recover from one hurricane, probably just got some infrastructure back up, which tore it out again.
Well, it goes back to that desperation. They are pulling out. They're pulling out all the stops, Mark.
See, here again, they're pulling out. They have lost, Sheila. It's over. The game is over. So the only thing left for them to do is a scorched earth maneuver. That's all they can do. And if they cannot have it, they're going to burn it to the ground, which is what they're trying to do right now. So I want people to understand something. They're trying to create a civil war. And what we have to do, and I'm 100% Second Amendment. I'm 100%, you defend your life and you defend your family, whatever you have to do. But there's things we can do to avoid that, like avoid the areas like in Portland, Oregon right now. There's a lot of stuff going on in Portland. There's going to be other places that this stuff's going to break out. We just have to be careful, Sheila, because Satan himself is laying a trap. It's a landmine. So people don't step on it. Whatever you do, it's a trap to lure us into a civil war right now, which we do not want, because this country would have a very hard time recovering from something like that. But this is a trap that's being laid by Satan himself. Just don't fall for it. The best way to stay safe is to avoid those areas. Now, I understand if you live in those areas, you work in those areas, you may have a harder time, but try not to fall into the trap.
See, we got